The movie starts with William giving an interview about his career in the North Sea. He explains that they started with no experience, simply following the Americans, even risking their lives because the whole team was making money. At the same time, he reflects on the dangers, warning that driving too fast won't keep them safe for long. Afterward, Sophia wakes up and takes an interest in the music she hears. She goes to the living room and greets her partner, Stia, and their son, Odin. After finishing his breakfast, Odin heads to the basement to search for his treasure. Sophia watches Stia, and they appear to be a happy family. Meanwhile, Sophia heads to work at Elum Offshore Robotics. Her colleague, Arthur, challenges her, saying she can't complete her task in 30 seconds. Determined to prove him wrong, she controls the robots in the swimming pool but fails to finish within the promised time. Arthur laughs, reminding her that he was right. However, Sophia refuses to give up and confidently reassures him that she will succeed next time. Sophia and Arthur leave the office, and he asks why her bag is so heavy. She teases him, saying he has no muscles. Their conversation shifts, and Arthur suggests she move in with Stia. She refuses, saying it is not the right time. Arthur reminds her that it has been 9 months since she met Stia, but Sophia firmly insists that it is not going to happen. Sophia and Arthur arrive at Stia's house, where a party is already underway with his friends. Sophia sets down her bag, and Stia takes her to another room, where they start kissing. However, Ronnie interrupts them, teasing Stia before grabbing a beer. Later, the friends spend the day together, playing football and hanging out at the beach. The atmosphere is relaxed and enjoyable. The next day, Sophia arrives at the office and finds Arthur feeling unwell from the previous day's hangover. She gives him some medicine and mentions that Stia made her breakfast. Their conversation is interrupted when Sophia receives a call from Saga, informing her about an accident at the heliport. They quickly prepare to leave. Before heading out, William arrives with a non-disclosure agreement for them to sign, ensuring confidentiality. William takes the signed papers and prepares to leave, but before he does, Sophia asks about their mission. Instead of giving details, William simply tells her that Norman Maximus is waiting for them and assures her that he will contact them once they arrive. Sophia and Arthur are confused but choose not to ask further questions. Without hesitation, they board the helicopter and take off. After arriving at their destination, Sophia and Arthur immediately begin setting up their robots in the water. In mission control, William informs his colleagues that they have arrived and instructs them to prepare everything, establishing an audio connection with the ship. Barrett tells Sophia that they are on speaker and that William is ready to talk. Still unaware of their mission, Sophia asks what is going on. William explains that subsidence has occurred directly beneath the platform base. After confirming that they have received the blueprint, he instructs her to navigate using it. He also confirms that people are missing. William informs Sophia that the robot can enter the structure to search for survivors. Though a bit confused, she reassures him that they will try. The robot sinks into the sea, and they begin navigating while Mission Control receives a live video feed. Sophia and Arthur work together, guiding the robot until it reaches a door. Following Sophia's command, the robot opens it, only to reveal the lifeless body of a man. As they push further inside, the robot soon discovers another dead body nearby. Suddenly, they spot a survivor. The man panics at the sight of the robot but calms down once he realizes it is from the ship. Desperate, he pleads for help. Mission Control hesitates, unsure how to respond. Before they can act, the man starts coughing. The air is contaminated with leaking gas. Sensing the danger, Sophia quickly orders Arthur to mute the audio and withdraw the robot. She then sprints to the captain, warning him that the rig is leaking gas and that the ship must move immediately. Before he can react, an explosion erupts. The blast leaves several injured and the Secretary of Oil and Energy publicly announces the tragic deaths of 8 people, confirming the severity of the incident. Stia rushes to the hospital and finds Sophia. Panicked, he embraces her tightly. She reassures him that she is okay, trying to stay strong, but a tear escapes her eye. Gathering herself, she asks if she can stay with him for a few days. Before she can explain, Stia reassures her she can stay as long as she wants. Without hesitation, he takes her home. In Mission Control, Gunn and her team gather in William's office for further simulation. William explains that the rig collapsed rapidly, meaning subsidence was not the cause. This revelation unsettles Gunn, sending her into a panic. Arthur continues analyzing the data, his eyes narrowing as he pieces things together. Something is not right. The collapse was not just a natural failure, there is an anomaly in the readings, something that does not fit. His heartbeat quickens as he realizes this could change everything. Meanwhile, Sophia tends to her injuries. Stia approaches her, explaining that he could not find anyone to cover his shift. She assures him it is fine. Before leaving, he tells her he loves her. As the door closes behind him, Sophia remains at home with Odin. Meanwhile, Sophia and Odin stay occupied repairing Odin's car, creating a moment for them to grow closer. As they work, Sophia's phone rings. Arthur's voice is urgent, telling her to come quickly. At Gulfax, the weather conditions are harsh. Stia stays busy with work before heading to Ronnie's office. Ronnie asks about Sophia and the recent gas leak. Stia explains the incident in detail. Later, Stia mentions that Sophia has moved into his home. He looks genuinely happy, and Ronnie shares in his excitement. Stia sees this as a fresh start, a chance to build a life with her. Sophia takes Odin to her office while she and Arthur work intensely to uncover the truth. Reviewing the video footage, they realize the explosion was not caused by a gas leak. The discovery is alarming. Without wasting time, they rush to William's office. As they arrive, Sophia steps forward to meet him alone, leaving Odin and Arthur waiting in the car. Sophia meets with William, who looks exhausted and admits he has not rested in hours. He asks for permission to eat while she explains. She tells him the explosion wasn't caused by a gas leak. At first, William hesitates to believe her. She then shows him the video footage as proof. After watching, William remains cautious and insists they should leave the investigation to the professionals. William takes the hard disk and prepares to leave. When Sophia reminds him that thousands of lives are at risk, he coldly reminds her that she signed a non-disclosure agreement. Without another word, he walks away, leaving her standing there, frustrated and powerless. Sophia returns to the car, where Arthur immediately asks about the situation. She tells him that William took the hard drive and didn't reveal much. Arthur expects them to take action, but Sophia remains uncertain, torn between following orders and doing what she knows is right. Meanwhile, Stia and his team continue their work, facing sudden unstable pressure and a dogleg. Despite the challenge, they react swiftly and manage to stabilize the situation before it escalates. That night, Steiner Skagemo and his team attend a meeting with William. Gunn opens the discussion by announcing a dramatic development in recent days before handing the floor to William. William presents a video clip, explaining that the number of fractures and slides has increased. He breaks down the details, leaving Steiner confused. It's not what he expected. Another member of William's team adds to the explanation, even referencing a historical site. William then shifts the discussion, stating that what they initially believed to be local subsidence is no longer the issue. He plays another video, confirming their worst fear: the Starega slide has started moving again. Steiner asks why this is happening. William's team explains that several factors could be at play, including climate change and other environmental influences. They also mention that thousands of wells have been drilled, draining massive oil and gas reservoirs beneath the seabed, which may have contributed to the instability. Still confused, Steiner asks for a course of action. William responds firmly: operations in the area must be halted immediately until they understand the situation better. Later, Steiner visits William's office, pressing him for answers. He asks what will happen if they don't shut down the wells, warning that the situation could surpass even the Deepwater Horizon disaster. His tone is urgent, reminding William of the grave danger they are facing. An alarm bell blares. Stia jolts awake, reacting instantly. Employees scramble to their feet, quickly preparing for action. William announces a massive operation. They will secure the area by shutting down half of the North Sea, closing all wells, and securing all installations. As he speaks, a helicopter arrives, evacuating employees. On the other side, Ronnie manages the situation, ensuring a smooth response. Meanwhile, in the Mission Control Center, William and his team work urgently, coordinating efforts to rescue their personnel and prevent further disaster. Meanwhile, Odin plays with his toy car outside the house, unaware of the tension in the air. Inside, Sophia listens to the radio when a breaking news report interrupts the broadcast. It announces a major evacuation of oil rigs in the North Sea, with large-scale emergency operations underway. Concerned, Sophia checks her phone and sees a message from Stia. She immediately tries to call him, but the line doesn't connect. Anxiety creeps in as she realizes she can't reach him. In the Mission Control Center, Barrett informs William that she has received an error report from one of the wells at the Gulfaxa site. Without hesitation, William orders her to contact the project manager, Ronnie, for an immediate assessment. Ronnie prepares his final team for evacuation when he receives the urgent call. Without hesitation, he orders a manual shutdown of the well. Stia quickly grasps the severity of the situation and steps forward, insisting on handling it himself. He takes full responsibility, determined to act alone. Ronnie, knowing time is critical, doesn't argue. He simply urges Stia to hurry. Every second counts. Stia moves quickly, knowing the helicopter is already waiting for him, the last one left. As he reaches the valve to shut it down, he notices something alarming. Water is leaking from it. Back in Mission Control, tension escalates as they suddenly lose all communication with the platform. Panic spreads among the team as they realize they are completely in the dark. Then, disaster strikes. A massive explosion erupts near the platform. Ronnie, still holding out for Stia, helps the remaining workers board the helicopter. But as the platform becomes damaged, the helicopter is forced to take off immediately, escaping just before the destruction spreads. Stia, still on the platform, is left behind. After failing to reach Barrett by phone, Sophia makes a quick decision. She heads to the Mission Control Center, bringing Odin with her. Upon arrival, Barrett delivers devastating news. Stia had been assigned to shut down the valve manually but was never evacuated. Ronnie confirmed that Stia remained on the platform when the explosion occurred. As if that weren't enough, Barrett also reports that over 30 platforms have collapsed, turning the situation into a full-scale catastrophe. Without hesitation, Sophia approaches William and demands that he send a rescue team for Stia. William remains firm, showing her the system status, flashing red, indicating imminent collapse. He tells her it's too dangerous and orders her to leave. Sophia refuses. Desperate, she reminds him that Stia has a son and challenges William to explain to the boy why his father won't come home. But William remains unmoved. Instead of responding, he calls security to remove her. Realizing there's no point in arguing, Sophia turns and walks out, determined to find another way. Sophia sits beside Odin, trying to compose herself, but when he notices her tears, he asks if something happened to his father. She confirms it but spares him the details. Determined to find answers, she heads to the technical room to review the footage. As she watches the collapse, she breaks down, unable to hold back her tears. Barrett notices and tries to comfort her, wrapping her in a hug. Then, Jason, one of the technicians, spots something unusual. A hatch in a service area has been opened. This sparks a glimmer of hope in Sophia. If the hatch was used, it could mean Stia is still alive. Barrett, however, remains skeptical, insisting that survival is highly unlikely. But Sophia refuses to listen. Ignoring Barrett's doubts, she turns and rushes out, determined to act. Meanwhile, Sophia calls Stia's sister, Vibeke, seeking her help. Arthur stands beside her, ready to assist. Understanding the urgency, Vibeke secures a helicopter, and they set out on a mission to rescue Stia. Upon arriving at the platform, Sophia and Arthur waste no time. They head inside, grabbing a map to plan their route. To ensure they don't lose their way, Arthur quickly snaps a picture of the map before they begin their search. Determined and focused, they move forward, navigating through the wreckage in hopes of finding Stia alive. Ronnie arrives at Mission Control, where Barrett informs him that the rescue mission was denied to avoid risking more lives. She also reveals that Sophia ignored the decision and went alone to save Stia. Hearing this, Ronnie doesn't say a word. Instead, he walks over to Odin and pulls him into a hug, knowing the boy is now caught in the middle of a fight for his father's life. Inside the platform, Sophia and Arthur quickly set up their robot, preparing it for the mission. They carefully lower it into the sea, but at first, the robot's connection is denied. Undeterred, they make several attempts, and after a tense moment, the connection is finally restored. The robot is ready to continue its search. Sophia takes control of the robot, excited at the prospect of finding a way to save Stia. As she navigates, she suddenly spots something unexpected. Stia is alive. The robot confirms it, and Sophia's heart lifts with joy. However, she quickly refocuses, knowing time is critical and they can't waste a second. Meanwhile, William receives the information from a satellite image. Though he hesitates, unsure if he can trust it, one of his workers reassures him that the image is only 10 minutes old, making it plausible that Stia is still alive. Afterward, William and his team show shocking images of the spill, which has spread over a vast area. Gunn explains the damage, her voice heavy with despair. She warns that recovery could take decades or even centuries, and she seems to have lost hope. In the middle of the crisis, William suggests a dangerous plan, setting the fuel on fire before the situation spirals further out of control. Steiner hesitates, unsure if such a drastic step is the right move, but he knows this decision is too big for him alone, so he decides to consult other government officials before taking action. Sophia and Arthur continue navigating through the platform, carefully making their way toward the pipe where Stia is believed to be. Sophia begins calling out his name, her voice echoing in the emptiness as she hopes for a response. At first, there's nothing, no reply, but as she enters the pipe and calls again, she hears a faint answer. To her shock, Stia is alive. He's weak and injured, with cuts on his head and hand, but he's conscious. Sophia is overwhelmed with relief, but she knows they need to act quickly. Sophia urgently asks Arthur to bring the tools needed to open the window cage, and together, they manage to free Stia. Though relieved, they know their task is far from over. In Mission Control, Steiner confirms that he has received permission from the Prime Minister's office. William's plan to burn the oil is given the green light. The fire jets are immediately deployed, heading out to begin the dangerous task of setting the oil ablaze. The clock is ticking, and the pressure is mounting. Sophia, Stia, and Arthur finally reach the top of the platform, but Sophia's immediate concern is to call Vibeke. Unfortunately, the connection is unreachable. As they stand there, they notice the oil leaking into the sea, a terrifying sign of the disaster unfolding. Back in Mission Control, Barrett urgently informs Ronnie about the oil leak. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Ronnie rushes to the Mission Control room to announce that there are still survivors on the platform. However, by the time he arrives, the fire jets have already been deployed, exploding and firing at the leaking oil. William watches, confused and unsettled by the rapid escalation. The situation is spiraling out of control, and he struggles to process everything happening so quickly. Stia calls Mission Control, and William explains the dire situation. He tells Stia that there is no way a rescue can save them now, as the jets have already bombed the oil. Stia is trapped, and with the situation escalating, hope begins to fade for the trio. In a moment of grim finality, William commands Ronnie to bring Odin so he can speak to his father. However, when Odin is brought in to speak to his father, he's unable to do so, attempting to save his own life. Ronnie asks Odin to go home, urging him to stay safe, but Odin refuses. He replies that Sophia told him to wait, unwilling to leave until he knows what happens to his father. Sophia quickly asks Stia where the lifeboats are, insisting that they need to get down to safety faster. The trio wastes no time and begins setting up the boat. Sophia explains her plan. They need to fill the boat with water so it can dive deeper into the sea, allowing them to escape the flames above. At first, Stia and Arthur are confused, but they quickly catch on to her plan. Together, they bring the boat through the pipe to Arthur and begin filling it partially with water. However, the pipe gets stuck, causing a moment of panic. With great effort, Stia manages to free it, and they continue their desperate race against time. Inside the boat, Sophia tries to pull the lever, but it's stuck. After a few tries, Stia figures out that the lever wasn't pulled all the way up, which is why they're stuck. When Arthur checks, he sees the lever is still down. With no other choice, Arthur decides to risk pulling the lever up. Arthur tries to stop him, but Sophia closes the door and pulls the lever down. The boat starts sinking into the sea, but Arthur sacrifices himself to make sure it works. As the boat sinks, Stia loses consciousness. Sophia tries to help him, but when she sees the boat sinking deeper, she tries to stabilize it herself. She is alone and struggles to keep control. In Mission Control, the workers leave the office, feeling helpless and saddened by the situation. Everyone is aware of the tragic outcome unfolding. Meanwhile, Stia regains consciousness and quickly takes charge. He commands Sophia to start pumping and tells her to open the valve with a black handle. When she follows his instructions, the boat begins to stabilize, giving them a glimmer of hope for survival. Ronnie gently tries to wake Odin, but just as he does, the phone rings. To everyone's surprise, it's Stia calling. He tells Ronnie that he's on a lifeboat and that he's alive. Stia then speaks to Odin, his voice filled with emotion. He reassures Odin, through his tears, that he's coming home with Sophia. Meanwhile, Ronnie immediately informs Mission Control of the good news, sharing the relief that Stia has survived, but the situation is still far from over. In the end, Sophia and Stia are rescued by helicopter. Odin runs to his father and hugs him tightly, while Stia also embraces Ronnie. William then reflects on the disaster, saying that 10,000 billion was made, but nature had said enough. He concludes that they are an ocean nation, reminding them of the need to live in balance.